Hello and welcome to the Midday Update. Here's the latest update from our newsroom. Officials at the Ministry of Health announced the registration of new coronavirus cases in the country today at 778. 265 of the new cases are Omani nationals and 513 for non-Omanis, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases registered in the Sultanate to 14,316. According to the Ministry of Health, this number also includes the recovery of 3,451 patients and 67 deaths. The ministry urged everyone to adhere to social distancing instructions issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health, as well as staying at home and not going out unnecessarily. SEEB recorded the highest number of COVID-19 deaths and new cases reported in the country yesterday on June 3, 2020, according to data released by the Ministry of Health. According to the ministry's Tarassud app, which provides updates on the coronavirus in Oman, 194 of the 738 new cases reported on Wednesday were in SEEB. Boshar had the second highest number of cases with 145, and Matra had a further 139. Overall, 528 of the 738 new cases, which makes up to 71.5% of new COVID infections, originated in Muscat Governorate. 35 new cases were reported in Al Amirat, while Wilayat Muscat had a further 8 cases and Kuryat reported 8 more cases. In terms of deaths, of the 8 new deaths that were reported on Wednesday, 5 of them, or more than 50%, were reported to have taken place in SEEB. Of the other 3 who unfortunately lost their lives due to the disease, 1 took place in Wilayat Matra, 1 in Wilayat Muscat, and another in Sohar in the North Batina Governorate. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry has announced about electronically receiving the applications for renewal of residence permits of foreign investors. A statement issued online by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry said, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, in coordination with the Ministry of Manpower and the Royal Oman Police, will receive these applications for renewal of the residence permits of foreign investors electronically via email to reduce the spread of the coronavirus and to facilitate the continuation of work of institutions and companies. The statement pointed out the ministry will review and audit the documents of the institution or company and transfer them to the competent authorities after completing all the formalities. Transparent face masks for receptionists, hand sanitizers for guests, and keeping swimming pools and gyms closed until further notice are among the instructions provided to hotels by the Ministry of Tourism as part of plans drawn up for them to welcome guests in the future. The ministry has issued a guideline instructing hotel staff, guests, and service providers on what they need to do to minimize the COVID-19 infection on hotel premises. Explaining these instructions further, Mohammed Zajjali, the General Manager for Investor Services and Quality Management at the Ministry of Tourism, said, preventive measures for the novel coronavirus in hotel establishments, coffee shops, and workers are linked to decision made by several organizations, namely the Ministry of Tourism, Muscat Municipality, and the Ministry of Health. We sought approval from the Ministry of Health about the guidelines that these establishments must follow, and while the Ministry agreed to the suggestions we had made, they also added some more health provisions and requirements. We must follow the recommendations of His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq in this regard, the official said. Gear up for the rare celestial event occurring on June 21st across the globe, including the Sultanate, that is not going to be repeated in the next 83 years. Celestial Ring, the rare astronomical event, is expected on Sunday, June 21st, 2020, when the Sultanate will witness an annular eclipse, and it will not be repeated in the Sultanate until 2103. The Astronomical Affairs Department at Mira said in a statement. The eclipse will be seen partially in the Sultanate, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, most of Asia, and southeastern Europe, most of Africa, the Pacific, and India. The annular eclipse can be viewed completely in some areas like Kuryat, Manah, Dima and Tain, Adam, Iski, Al-Mudaybi, Bahla, Samail, Ibri, and Al Amirat, while the rest of the vilayats will witness a partial eclipse, the officials informed. While we are going to be celebrating the International World Environment Day across Oman and the globe tomorrow, we have a very special guest joining us to talk about the lessons that we can learn from COVID-19 in regards to the World Environment Day. Let's welcome Dr. Sudhir Kumar Shukla, who is the Assistant Professor at Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the National University of Science and Technology. Thank you so much, Dr. Shukla, for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
It's always a pleasure. Dr. Shukla, could you please tell us how important is the role of environment in the outbreak of the coronavirus that we are facing right now?
Yeah, actually, environment is the sphere where we live, right? Whatever interaction we do, whatever way we give to environment, it will come back to us. So if we talk about coronavirus, it came from bat. Bat is a wild animal. Why do we need to interact with bat? Okay. Another thing, nowadays, because of more urbanization, we are encroaching forest. So the line wild animal and our habitat are thinning. So in that case, we are going to their habitat and they are coming to our habitat. So the chances of interaction is more. This is number one. Number two, due to pollution, our health are deteriorating. So the virus is spread. If you see the reports, people with pre-existing conditions like lung disease or heart disease, they are more susceptible. They are more at risk. The reason is environment, pollution. Also another thing, due to climate change, global temperature is increasing. Weather conditions are not certain. Those conditions are very good for spreading viruses, bacteria and other vectors. So that is how we can relate this incident with the environment.
Dr. Shukla, how important do you think is the protection of environment for future diseases and the ones that are existing currently?
It is the most important. The way, like if I give you simple example, we should protect our house, right? Environment is our house. If we don't protect environment, ultimately will harm us. Whatever way we give it, suppose if we are polluting rivers, we will drink polluted water. If you are spoiling air, we will breathe bad air, like that. So if we protect environment, our civilization, our human generation will be saved. Otherwise, it is at risk, not exaggeration, it is at risk if we don't protect environment. This is our house. It is the most important thing we have.
Dr. Shukla, do you think the environment has the tendency to heal on its own, or does it take an effort from the individual and from a group and from everyone to contribute to the protection of environment?
Yeah, it has two aspects. If we don't interfere with the environment, it can heal itself. It has self-purifying capacity, it can heal. But the problem is, we are polluting, we are creating more problems to the environment. Okay? If we see recent report, if I talk about one incident in India, Himalaya, it can be seen for 300 kilometers away in recently, for last 30 years. Rivers are polluted. So if we are releasing pollution or pollutants to the environment, we need to take care of this. We need to take effort. So in conclusion, environment can heal itself without any input or any further effect. But if we are polluting it, we need to take care of. We need to rectify our mistakes. We need to clean air. We need to clean water. We need to clean soil, and we need to reforest, like that. So we need to take effort.
Dr. Shukla, in your expertise and, considering the outbreak of coronavirus, well, most of the world is living in isolation and in lockdown, do you think there has been any change or effect to the environment?
Yes, it has been. There are reports now, airs are clean. If you see global, greenhouse gas emission, it got reduced 30%. Recently, there was a report. In rivers, they are becoming cleaner because industrial activities are now at halt. There is no transportation or very less movement. So emission which we are releasing to the environment, it is stopped. So definitely it has positive effect for the environment.
You're talking about the reports. I actually came across a report too that people are not polluting like they used to before, but now they have started polluting. They have started disposing of their masks and gloves in the rivers. So do you think like the change has to come from the individual perspective rather than, you know, like a environment on its own, you know, healing on its own?
Yeah, you're right. It should come from us. Actually, the problem is we are not serious about the environment. We are very, is the only thing. We are just casual, just throw everything everywhere. We don't care because we don't realize either, or even if we realize, it doesn't matter. Like we are just casual. So suppose as the example you gave that people are throwing masks and PPEs. This is just no. It is not acceptable, right? So ultimately it will again go to the sea or soil, and it will come to us by food chain. So we will be eating it later on indirectly. So it should come from us, definitely.
Yes, Dr. Shukla. So, you know, talking about environment and how to protect it, what kind of steps or what kind of suggestions would you like to recommend to people to start taking steps?
Okay. Yeah, actually, we know that we need to protect environment. We need to grow also. We need to be economically more prosperous. So we need to have sustainable development. There is a term sustainable development. What is that? We need to use resources such a way that it can last longer. Suppose, if I give one example, now we are using coal or oil for the energy. And we know that coal is very polluting. It releases carbon dioxide, sulfur, and other things. Why don't we use renewable energy resources like solar energy, like wind energy? Another thing, recycling. If we recycle the waste, we are ultimately cutting down the pollution stream, right? Pollution going to the stream. So we can do that. There is a new term nowadays, circular economy. Circular economy is recycling, refabrication, refurbishing the waste to make material like that. So if we are doing that, we are ultimately saving natural resource like forest, water, energy in one way. Another way, we are minimizing the waste. We have to change our habits. We are habitual of overconsumption. If I give you example, people change cell phones, like many times in a year or at least once in a year. What is the need of changing phone? Because ultimately it is coming from natural resource. Same way other things like we waste food. We use polythene. Polythene is a big problem nowadays. So we just use polythene bottles. Why do we need to use polythene bottles? Why can't we carry glass bottle? Why can't we carry cloth made bags for shopping? So these things if we do as an individual, it will help. And also for the government, they should make a policy. They should implement them properly. So those are the things we can do for protecting, and also reforestation, planting more trees. Suppose if you cut one tree, plant 10 trees. Like this, we need to compensate. And another very important point I would like to make, in my opinion, whatever quality of resource we take from the environment, we should return in the same quality. Underline this thing. Suppose if you are taking water from the river for our manufacturing or industrial activities, having 5 BOD or 10 BOD by oxygen demand, when we release it back, we should treat it up to the same quality. If we are not doing that thing, it is risk. We can't save the environment. So we need to go up to that level. Same way, air. Suppose we are taking air for the industrial combustion. So whatever air we are releasing through the chimneys, we need to purify up to the level that it is existing in the atmosphere. If we just follow these rules, things will be fine.
So Dr. Shukla, are you suggesting or are you hinting out that sustainable development is the way forward from now on?
Yes, it is. sustainable development is the way. Because we need to grow also. We cannot just sit quiet and don't grow, right? We have needs and other things. So we need to develop, but we need to take care of the environment at the same time.
What about the use of the plastic bags that we're still seeing? You know, although it is banned in Oman, like people are still using. How do you see the use of these plastic bags affecting the environment?
Yeah, actually, use of plastic bag is really bad. It is affecting soil. It is affecting ocean. Like wild animals or domestic animals are dying by eating those plastics. And you may be knowing that if the plastic which goes to the ocean, it becomes very small particles. It's called microplastic. And then we get salt from the ocean. So that mixed with the salt and it is coming to us ultimately. So we can't see, but we are eating that plastic and it can create a lot of health problems and health hazards. So we need to stop all these things. We need to stop using plastic, and it is very easy. It's not difficult. If I tell you myself, I use cloth bags, I use glass bottle for last 2 years. I did campaign also for this thing. So it is not difficult, but it just need to change your habit. That's it. Our ancestors, they used to use like this, no, cloth bags and other things. But we need to just change our habit. Otherwise, another effect of plastic is it spoils or deteriorate agricultural land. So if we don't grow, if our soil, our land is not suitable for growing food, what we will eat, right? So these things are really cause of concern, and we need to rectify them.
Do you think, Dr. Shukla, that environment is given its due priority when consulting or when thinking about the development of a country?
Not at all. In any country, if you see, it is the last priority for allocation of the fund, making the policies. It is the last priority. Nowadays, like if you have to have an industry, you need to do EIA, environmental impact assessment, and get clearance. Then the countries are changing rules to make it little mild, like little lenient. So it is not given. Fund is not given. Implementation is not there. Corruption is there. Policymakers, they don't care. Businessmen, they don't care. They just want money. So if suppose one industrialist, I'm not blaming anyone, but just this is honest opinion. So if an industrialist is getting suppose profit of say 40% or 50%, if he devotes 10% or 5% of that profit for environment, that's enough. It doesn't take more than that. But we are not in the mood. We are not willing to give that much even. So this is the problem.
So Dr. Shukla, how do you think people can actually observe Environment Day tomorrow in Oman? Like what small things or small gestures they can do towards contributing to the environment?
There is a simple way. One, you have to absorb this, that environment is home. You need to consider it as an environment. And another thing is, whatever steps you take, this is the key. Whatever steps you take from the waking up in the morning till sleeping at night, you think of environment. Like, okay, if I do this thing, whether it is going to affect environment adversely or not. So if we have 2-3 options, we go for least one, which is affecting least. If I give you one example, how people, hello?
I can hear you.
Yes. Yeah. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Shukla, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. If I give you example, I see people, they keep their car start mode and they are resting. Why? It is consuming petrol, that is money, and also it is releasing carbon dioxide. It is affecting our environment. We cannot walk for even 1 kilometer. Why? Why do we need cars and scooters or motorcycles for 1 kilometer? We don't need, right? So like that, small steps. For example, plastic. We don't need to use plastic. Jute bag. those small things, we can protect more forest. These are called lungs for the environment.
Dr. Shukla, sorry, could you please repeat the last few lines? Your connection was breaking up.
Okay, what I'm saying that what is the need of using plastic nowadays? There is no need. We can carry our cloth bags. We can carry jute bags. We can carry like glass bottle. What is the need? So we need to change our habits. If we change, we can protect environment. This is one example. Another thing is we need to plant more trees. Actually, trees or forests are called lungs of the nature or environment. So if we plant more trees, it will heal itself, like they absorb carbon dioxide. No? So it can heal. They clean actually the nature or the environment. So those small steps we need to take to protect environment.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shukla, for joining us and giving us some amazing tips and giving us an insight of how important environment is and how correlated it is to our health as well.
Welcome. It was my pleasure.
For all the viewers and listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back again next week at 2 p.m. So stay tuned and keep watching TTV.